Hi, my name is Trey Pernell, and my piece Maravilla was programmed to be in the 2013 Colorado Composers Concert. I began composing when I was about 9 or 10 years old, around the same time I started playing the piano. And Conrad Kane actually was a teacher of mine for about a year or so, as well as Jonathan Howard, a teacher at the Denver School of the Arts. I currently go to Denver East High School, and I hope to attend Yale next year. I have been featured on a national radio show known as From the Top, which airs on NPR. With Maravilla, what I took was the very first motif, the very first notion of the violin melody, and I tried to elaborate around that. As a matter of fact, when I began writing the piece, the piano part was nothing but chords, and the entire violin part was written out. And I brought the piece to Daniel Kellogg at CU, and he looked over the composition, and he liked the melody, but he said that he needed more elaboration in the piano part, which thus resulted in a more elaborate piano part. My earliest influence compositionally was Beethoven, and my first composition sounded a lot like him. And Jonathan Howard and Conrad, they both pushed me to create more modern compositions and use more atonal techniques within my writing. So I didn't adjust maybe as quickly as they wanted to, but gradually I started to add more atonality to my pieces. And you can hear that it's not quite at a very atonal level yet, but it's a lot more dissonant and more complicated than what I was coming up with before. Maravilla is a piece for both piano and violin. It's more of a study on the melody for violin, and Maravilla means wonder in Spanish. But as a whole, it uses a lot of Phrygian chords. It's very Spanish sounding, although not totally Spanish, with varying sections in between. The history is, last summer, I began writing two primary pieces. These are the pieces that I sent to all my colleges. And it was Maravilla and a compositional piece called "O Captain, My Captain," which is the piece that will be featured on NPR. I wrote them both around the same time. I worked on them simultaneously. And I tried to keep them exclusive from each other. I tried to keep the ideas from Maravilla from seeping in to the ideas from Captain, My Captain. The Colorado Composers Concert is important to me because it gives me a vital opportunity to showcase my music to people within my community, opportunities that I might not have had otherwise. I also get to listen to a lot of music that's created by composers in my local area. I especially enjoy listening to my fellow young composers, and you guys feature 2 or 3 young composers, and I get to see what kids around my age are doing with classical music, which is exciting because when I first started composition, I didn't realize that anybody else my age was doing it. As a matter of fact, I didn't realize that anybody today was doing it. I thought it was something that was reserved strictly for people who existed centuries ago. The Playground's important for the classical music community because it gives people, especially composers, a chance to explore a lot of different varying instrumentation with very professional execution. And in addition to that, it shows the community, especially around Denver, that music like this is possible and that there are people willing to make such music. The Playground itself is important for me as a composer because it also gives me a channel through which I can express my compositional ideas. It gives people today in my community an exposure to modern classical music that they might not have had otherwise. Because mostly these days when you listen to classical music, it's usually stuff that was written more than 50 years ago. But there's a lot going on today that the Playground Ensemble is exploring and performing.